Hi, my name is Claire, and today I will be discussing with you Spotify from an artist's perspective and whether or not they should be changing the way that they pay their artists. Spotify, it's one of the biggest music streaming services in the world. According to a shareholder letter that Spotify actually sends out to their shareholders and investors on a quarterly basis, at the end of 2019, Spotify saw 271 million users worldwide. So with pretty much any artist that you can find on there, and also a subscription system that allows for a free, albeit restricted, streaming option, Spotify is one of the most popular platforms to be streaming your music off of. So Spotify is what we would call an on-demand streaming service. What this means is that it's different from internet radio services such as Pandora or iHeartRadio. In order to clear this distinction, I will explain to you the differences between the two types of royalties paid out to artists when songs are played. So a public performance royalty is what is paid to a songwriter when a song is played on the radio or in a restaurant or bar. So a performing arts or performing rights organization, or a PRO, such as BMI, ASCAP, or CSAC in the United States, will collect performance royalties from these music users and then pay the songwriters and rights holders, such as publishers. And then Sound Exchange will collect a recording performance royalty and pay that to the recording artist. On the other hand, a mechanical royalty is what is paid to artists and songwriters when their music is sold physically. So think for every CD, vinyl record, cassette, what be it, and also when their music is streamed on demand, such as on Spotify. So mechanical royalties are actually government regulated through a compulsory license. What this means is that the government actually will regulate the statutory rate, and the current statutory rate is set at 9.1 cents for one stream of a song that's 5 minutes or less, and an extra 1.75 cents for every minute or a fraction of a minute thereafter. And all of this information is a little more explained in depth and a little more laid out for you on Royalty Exchange if you're interested in looking that up. So the current payout for Spotify stands at an average of about 0.0047 cents per stream. So to put that into perspective, a stream that has, or a song that has 1 million streams will generate $4,730 in revenue. So Spotify, along with other audio streaming services, pays out its music rights holders in a pro rata system. So what this means is that the money generated from listeners each month is divvied up according to an artist's listening time. Thusly, this automatically means that the more popular artists will automatically get a bigger check. So corporate hit makers, if you will, that are holding hands with the major record labels will be cut some massive checks. This is argued to be unfair to independent artists and artists that are more under the radar. So explained simply, if Billie Eilish accounts for 10% of all streams on Spotify for a month, and she will receive 10% of all the money that the users paid to Spotify that month, regardless if these users have streamed her music or not. This is also explained a little more simply on an article in Business Insider that I will add the link to. So the argument is this: a user-centric system should be the industry standard. This type of pro rata system takes power away from the listener. For example, if you paid $9.99 1 month for Spotify, and say the artist that you stream 100% of that month is like an obscure Icelandic metal thrash band, then that band should be receiving 100% of your $9.99, not Billie Eilish, because you didn't listen to her that month. So obviously in a time where streaming didn't exist, this payout system was a little bit easier because a standard set of royalties would be paid out for every CD that you sold, every vinyl record that you sold, or even any MP3 file that you sold through iTunes, but obviously this isn't the case anymore. It's kind of an outdated system. So this type of situation is kind of difficult for an artist that's stuck to a record label contract. Why is because most record label contracts aren't really set by number of years or time-based, but rather it's kind of set in albums, like number of albums and content generated, and also how much revenue you bring in. So an artist more often than not will actually be paid in advance. So say an artist gets paid $7 million in advance and the deal is for unlimited albums. This means that the artist has to generate over $7 million in order to recoup their fee, and if they ever want to leave this record label contract, they can't really do so until they've generated $7 million in revenue. So you can see why this might be difficult for an artist that isn't really popular right off the bat, or if an artist doesn't tour a lot, because touring also does generate a lot of revenue. And you also lose a lot more money in touring and things like that. So, you know, that's that. So music at the end of the day is art. Musicians that are trying to make a living off of sharing their art invest a lot of their time, their energy, and mounds and mounds and mounds of money in labor and also physical cash into making that a reality. So in the day and age that we live in, streaming is obviously essential to these artists' success, because at the end of the day, streaming does make up a big chunk of the music industry's revenue as a whole. So that being said, it only makes sense to make the payout system for these artists fair and a little less biased towards corporate major record labels. So thank you.